we're breaking away from Aidan, it's because we want to talk to someone who may be the next leader of the Conservative Party, Tom Tugendhat, who's thrown his hat into the ring. Good morning to you. Nice to see you. What do you bring to the table that others don't?
It's good to see you. Well, look, you've seen what's just happened in the recent election. We lost the trust of the British people because we failed to deliver. And I've got a track record of delivery, whether that's in the army on operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, or whether that's in Parliament standing up to those who would threaten us, those authoritarian dictators. And that's got me sanctioned by countries like China and Russia and Iran. And, of course, I've been delivering in government, as the security minister, making sure that we are safe. And I can't talk about all the areas that I've been working on as security minister for obvious reasons, but absolutely prioritising the interests and security of the British people is exactly what I've done for most of my professional life. And that's exactly what I want to bring to leadership of the Conservative Party and eventually to the Prime Ministership of the United Kingdom.
It's a poison chalice, though, isn't it? Why would you want this job facing at least 5 years in opposition? It's a party in absolute chaos and disarray.
Well, look, it's a huge challenge, but this is a fantastic country and a country that I'm hugely proud to have served over many years in many different ways. And serving as leader of the Conservative Party is about offering the British people that choice to have the natural party of government back in office. And the way that we do that is we rebuild trust. We reunite from this factional fighting that we've seen over the last few years, and we get ready to actually deliver for the British people. And that's exactly what I want to do. And I've demonstrated that I've got the track record of delivery on operations, on delivery in Parliament, on delivery in government. That's exactly where I want to be, because we need to make sure that the British people have a real choice at the next election, a choice that actually serves the British people. That's what I'm working on.
But as you say, you need to win people back. You need to do that, and you say the government didn't deliver, the Conservative government didn't deliver on what it should have done, as you say, so you need to rebuild trust. Well, how do you rebuild trust when it's all over the papers this morning that you want to pull us out of the ECHR should you get back into power at some point? Well, that's you've done a 180 on that one over the past couple of years. I mean, is that just political opportunism?
No, I've been very, very clear. I am prepared to make any decision that will keep the British people safe. And just look at the last 5 years where we haven't delivered. I am prepared to leave the ECHR or indeed any other institution that doesn't serve the interests of the British people. I've always been absolutely clear on this. The people I work for are the people of Tunbridge and the people of the United Kingdom. I am absolutely clear about this. We need to be ruthlessly focused on what is in our national interest so that we are delivering for our people. And that means looking around the world, looking at the institutions, looking at the alliances that we've struck and making sure that they continue to deliver. When they don't, we need to reform them. We need to derogate in some cases, as I argued in 2013 on the ECHR. So this has been something I've been calling for 11 years. But also, if they really don't work, we can't derogate and they won't reform, then we need to be prepared to leave. And I've always been absolutely clear. We serve the British people, we don't serve anyone else.
Is this you just appealing to the right of your party, though? I mean, you've been described as a centrist, even a leftist in the Tory party, and the Tory party has always been a broad church, hasn't it? But it does seem as though you're appealing to the right with this one.
No, look, I'm just a Conservative, right? I'm completely focused on the Conservative values that have made this country great over much of the last 200 years.
Sorry to interrupt you,
you can use the language of the past if you like. But
what does that mean anymore, to be a Conservative? What does that stand for? Because it doesn't seem as though there's a clear vision.
Well, look, that's why I'm setting out change, because you're right, we failed to deliver and we've lost trust because of it. And I'm setting out an agenda that is ruthlessly focused on the interests of the British people, and it means being focused on what can we do as individuals, as responsible individuals, as agents of our own lives, to support our families, to defend our communities, to make ourselves more prosperous and our society better. And that's exactly what I'm focused on, because those are Conservative values. And making sure that we deliver, and we as government are able to deliver for the British people, is absolutely essential. Now, sadly, we haven't achieved that over the last 5 years, and that's exactly why I'm standing, because I've got a track record of delivery in the army, in Parliament, and most recently in government, and we can make that difference.
I just wonder where you imagine the Conservative Party to be in 5 years when we expect there to be another general election, because you've got to start appealing to a different dynamic. You've got to appeal to the young, you've got to appeal to the middle-aged voters. I mean, obviously, you've got a strong base in an older voter at the moment. But I wonder if the Conservative Party actually needs to be something that we actually wouldn't recognise today. A complete reform, new Conservatives.
Well, look, I think that you're absolutely right that we need to appeal across the spectrum and just look at the results, right? I mean, I'm not going to shy away from it. That was a disastrous electoral night. We ended up with about a third of the MPs that we started with, and we lost votes across the country to Reform, to Liberal Democrats, to the Greens, to Labour, and we need to win them all back. And the way that we do that is by delivering Conservative values, because you talk to young people. You know, I go and speak at schools in my own constituency, but I also speak to young people around the country, and consistently I hear Conservative values being echoed back to me. People want to buy their own homes. They want to start their own families. They want to have their own opportunity to start a business, to start a job. And time again, we haven't allowed them that opportunity. And that's why we need to be changing the Conservative Party. We need to be listening to the country. And that's what the next 5 years are about. Look, we're 3 weeks in to a 5-year period of opposition. We need to be listening, we need to be regaining the trust of the British people, and we need to be delivering the answers that will see us able to win an election in 5 years' time.
If you were to become Tory party leader, what would you do about the Reform Party? Could a deal be done with Reform? Would you want them back in that broad church? We heard from Nigel Farage this week warning that there'd be more defections from Tories to Reform. That's a real issue you've got on your hands there.
Look, of course I want Reform voters to come back to the Conservative fold where they were Conservatives. Of course I do. But I also want people who voted for us in the past and are now voting Lib Dem to come back. I want people who voted for us in the past and then voted Labour to come back. Of course I want all these people to come back. But the only way we're going to do that is if we actually deliver for the British people. We need to regain trust. And that's why the record I'm standing on is one of delivery. Delivery in the army, delivery in Parliament, delivery in government. Because we need to be absolutely ruthlessly focused on delivering for the British people. If we do that, if we deliver Conservative values, if we deliver for the British people, we will regain the trust and eventually the votes of the British people to make sure that we're able to govern this country in the best interests of everyone in the United Kingdom.
What I'm slightly confused about, Mr Tugendhat, is you say the government didn't deliver, which I think most of us would accept, but you delivered within your department. So what I'm intrigued at is in Cabinet, I mean, what were you saying to the Prime Minister, to other colleagues around the table, if they're not delivering? Or did you just sit there and nod your head?
Look, what I did was I focused on the job that I had, and the job I had was keeping our country safe. And you'll forgive me, I think that's an incredibly important responsibility and one that I took as seriously as you would expect. Because delivering the new National Security Act, which means that we're able to prosecute people who cooperate with foreign intelligence services, or making sure that the intelligence services and agencies that do such an extraordinary job in serving the British people are properly resourced. That was my responsibility, and that's exactly what I focused on. And you wouldn't expect me to do anything else. You know, focusing on the security of our country is the highest honour that you can have. And I've done it in the armed forces, I've done it in Parliament, I've now done it in government. I'm very proud of the service that I've been able to offer our country.
Are you comfortable with this long campaign? We're not going to know who's the next Tory party leader until November. That's 3.5 months of campaigning for a party that's already in chaos. It's essentially a lame duck opposition, isn't it? It's allowing the Labour Party to go unchecked for 3.5 months.
Well, look, first of all, it's not allowing the Labour Party to go unchecked. The ideology that people like Ed Miliband are introducing into the energy markets that put our energy security at risk and make our families more vulnerable of energy price spikes like the ones that we saw caused by the Ukraine war a couple of years ago, those are mistakes, and we will continue to call them out. The reality is the Conservative Party is now 3 weeks into a 5-year period of opposition. It's absolutely right that we have this debate, that we have this discussion amongst ourselves so that Conservative Party members and indeed the wider country can see the arguments that we're making and can understand where we're coming from, because we need to be making Conservative arguments. We need to be reinforcing Conservative values, and we need to be championing those issues that make Britain strong and free, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Tom Tugendhat, appreciate your time today. Look forward to talking to you more over the next few months. Thanks very much indeed.